My new boss is an incompetent asshole, but I'm the top chef and he pushed me too far. So, I'm a guy in the cooking industry, been at it for about 10 years now. I'm M35, single dad, and life's pretty much a juggling act between work and raising my kid. My kid, we'll call him Jay, is 7 now, and I've been doing this balancing act ever since his mom left. I never really complained because, hey, that's life, right? But man, this new boss of mine, let's just say if it wasn't for Jay, I'd have walked out by now. Let me backtrack a bit. My previous boss, we'll call him D, was an absolute gem. He was the kind of guy who knew how to run a kitchen but didn't breathe down your neck. I've worked with D for about 6 years, and we had a rhythm going. He trusted me with the kitchen, and we'd just get it done. No drama. If something went wrong, he'd come up with a solution, not a freak-out session. But last year, D decided to retire. He'd had enough of the grind, said he wanted to spend more time with his grandkids, and I respected that. What I didn't respect was who the owners decided to replace him with. We'll call this new guy R. R is around my age, maybe a couple years younger, M33, but I swear he acts like he's fresh out of culinary school and this is his first time running a kitchen. The man is an absolute nightmare. The first day he walked in, he wanted to change everything. Fine, I get it. New boss, new vision. I can roll with that. But his vision is a mess. For starters, he's obsessed with these fusion dishes that make absolutely no sense for our restaurant. I mean, we're known for our classic French style menu simple, elegant, well executed dishes. And here comes R with his plans for sushi inspired steak tartare with mango foam in a French bistro. Look, I said to him one day, trying to be diplomatic, our clientele comes here for the classics. I'm not sure they're going to be too keen on experimenting with fusion. He gave me this smirk like I was an idiot and said, "You've been doing this for how long? You're stuck in the past, man. We have to innovate." Innovate. Sure. How about we innovate by not driving away our regulars with nonsense on the menu? But that wasn't the worst of it, not by a long shot. R doesn't just have bad ideas. He's one of those micromanagers who thinks he knows better than everyone about everything, even when he's completely clueless. He hovers, constantly. I'll be making something I've made 1,000 times, and he'll come over and start critiquing my knife skills. My knife skills. I've been doing this for a decade, but sure, tell me again how to dice an onion. It would almost be funny if it weren't so infuriating. Like this one time, I was prepping for a dinner rush, and he stops me mid-chop and says, "You should cut the carrots into triangles. It'll look more interesting on the plate." Triangular carrots. I kid you not. But I grit my teeth and do it. Why? Because I need this job. I'm a single dad and I can't afford to just up and leave every time someone gets under my skin. Jay depends on me. And at the end of the day, the paycheck keeps the lights on and the fridge full. So I cut the damn carrots into triangles. It's not just the ridiculous requests either. He's unpredictable. One day he'll be barking orders like a drill sergeant, and the next he'll be MIA during a lunch rush, claiming he's working on some new concept in his office. Meanwhile, the rest of us are left to scramble, covering for his absence while he dreams up the next abomination for the specials board. There was one particularly bad week where R decided we were going to overhaul the entire menu. Just like that. No notice, no planning, just a complete menu change in the middle of summer, right before our busiest weekend. I tried to talk some sense into him, told him we needed time to prepare to train the staff on the new dishes, but he wouldn't hear it. "Do you want to stay stuck in the past forever?" He snapped at me, like I was some kind of dinosaur for suggesting basic kitchen management principles. So we went ahead with the menu change. It was a disaster. Half the staff didn't know the dishes, the orders were piling up, and customers were pissed. I ended up staying late every night that week, cleaning up the mess, while R conveniently disappeared as soon as the dinner rush died down. By the time I got home, Jay would already be asleep, and I'd just sit there on the couch, staring at the walls, wondering how the hell I ended up here. I think what makes it worse is that I actually care about this place. I've been with the restaurant for years, built relationships with the regulars, helped train most of the staff. It's not just a job to me, it's more than that. And to see someone like R come in and run it into the ground is like watching someone set fire to something you love. There's this one regular, an older guy, M65, comes in every Thursday night with his wife. They've been coming here for as long as I can remember. Last week, he pulled me aside after his meal and said, "It's not the same, you know. The food, the vibe, it's different now. What happened?" I didn't have the heart to tell him the truth. What was I supposed to say, that the new boss is a walking disaster, that I'm doing everything I can to keep the place afloat while he sinks it with his ego and stupidity? So I just nodded and said, "Yeah, yeah, things have changed a bit." He gave me this sad look. He knew I was holding back and just said, "I hope it gets better." Me too, man. Me too. I keep telling myself I'm going to quit, that I'll find something else, but it's not that easy. I've got bills to pay, and there's Jay to think about. He's at that age where he's starting to understand more, starting to ask questions. I don't want him to see me as someone who gives up when things get hard. I want him to know that sometimes you have to push through, even when it sucks. I think about D a lot. Wonder what he would have done if he were still here. He would have fought back, that's for sure. D wasn't the type to let someone like R walk all over him. But then again, D didn't have a kid at home depending on him. He could afford to take risks. I guess that's the difference. When you're responsible for someone else, you don't have the luxury of throwing in the towel. You just keep going, no matter how much it grinds you down. Last week, R pulled me into his office for a chat. He starts going on about how I need to embrace change and think outside the box. The whole time I'm sitting there, nodding, trying not to lose my cool. Then he says something that nearly made me walk out right then and there. You know, if you can't adapt, maybe this isn't the right place for you anymore. I don't know what kept me in that chair. Maybe it was Jay, maybe it was just sheer stubbornness, but I didn't react. I just stared at him for a moment, then said, "I'll think about it." I left his office, went back to the kitchen, and finished my shift. And then I went home, sat on the couch again, and just stared at the walls. It's been a week since that conversation, and I'm still here. Still chopping triangular carrots, still biting my tongue, still showing up every day because I don't have a choice. But you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this place, with R, with all of it. I've been looking around, sending out resumes. They've decided it's time to make a change. I'm still here for now, but I've been putting out feelers, sending out resumes, and keeping my ear to the ground for any opportunities that might come up. Maybe I'll find a place where I can actually do what I love without someone breathing down my neck, or maybe I'll take a break from the kitchen for a bit. Who knows? I'll stick it out for a little while longer, long enough to find something better, long enough to make sure I'm not leaving Jay and me in a tough spot. But the next time R tries to pull one of his stunts, I'm walking. Because no job, no paycheck is worth this kind of stress. All right, time for an update because I'm officially done with this place. And when I say done, I mean it in the burn it all down kind of way. You know how I said I was biting my tongue with this new boss, R? Yeah, well, he pushed me too far this time, and I'm not to just sit there and take it anymore. So this morning, I walk into the kitchen like usual, ready for the daily dose of R's BS. But right away, I know something's up. The guy's pacing around like someone told him his precious fusion tacos just got banned worldwide. I barely get my jacket on before he storms up to me and starts screaming, and I mean red-faced, veins popping out of his neck, screaming about how we're losing customers. Apparently, a bunch of regulars complained about the food, saying it was bland and tasteless. Blame me, right? Like it's my fault we're down to half our usual tables. Never mind that this idiot has been messing with the menu and turning us into a joke of a restaurant. Nope. All of a sudden, it's my cooking that's the problem. My food. My speed. You're not keeping up, he says. You're slacking, and your dishes taste like nothing. Excuse me? I just stared at him, jaw clenched, while he went on and on about how we need more spice. He actually said, and I quote, "Our dishes need to pop. Add some damn flavor for God's sake, or you're out." Like, that's his brilliant solution to our dwindling customer base. More spice. Never mind the fact that half our customers are old enough to have dentures, and the last thing they want is to have their tongues set on fire during their lunch specials. Now, I could have argued. I could have told him, point blank, that it's not the seasoning that's killing our business. It's the fact that no one knows what the hell we're even trying to be anymore. But you know what? No, I'm done trying to talk sense into this clown. If he wants spice, fine. I'll give him spice. Cue my moment of malicious compliance. Lunch service comes around, and I'm on soups. You want flavor, R? You want something that'll pop? Well, buckle up, buddy, because I went full nuclear in that kitchen. I grabbed every spice jar within arm's reach: cayenne, paprika, chili powder, crushed red pepper, curry powder, even the freaking ghost pepper flakes we kept on hand for special requests, and dumped them into the soup pot like I was making a potion from hell. I mixed and stirred until that pot of soup smelled like a fiery death trap, and I didn't stop there. Every dish that came out of my station got the same treatment. Extra cayenne on the pasta, doubled the spice rub on the chicken, even threw some extra black pepper into the mashed potatoes. The kitchen was practically a smokehouse by the time I was done, and I made sure R got a whiff of it. Service was an absolute disaster. I could see it in the servers' faces when they started bringing back half-eaten plates, eyes wide with panic as they muttered, the customers are saying the food's a little too intense? A little too intense? Ha! That's one way to describe the fiery nuclear bomb I'd set off in the kitchen. People were coughing, faces red from the heat. One old guy even asked for milk because his tongue was burning so bad. The waitstaff was scrambling to deal with the fallout, running back and forth between tables trying to calm people down. And R was fuming. He stormed into the kitchen, face as red as the chili flakes I dumped into every dish. "What the hell did you do?" he screamed, spitting his words at me like I'd just set fire to his entire restaurant. "You said to add more spice," I replied, barely holding back a grin. "So I did. Hope it pops for you." He lost it. Like, completely lost it. He was going on about how the customers were all complaining, threatening to walk out, and how this was somehow all my fault. "Again, you're sabotaging me," he yelled. "You did this on purpose." "Damn right I did." But I just shrugged, wiping down the counter like I wasn't being chewed out by the world's worst boss. "Hey, I was just following your orders. You wanted more spice. I delivered." I thought he might actually explode. His fists were clenched, face purple now, and I could see the veins popping out of his forehead. He looked like he was about to have an aneurysm right there in the middle of the kitchen. "You're done here," he finally spat, his voice barely above a whisper. "Get the hell out." I didn't argue. I didn't even flinch. I took off my apron, tossed it on the counter, and walked out without a second thought. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good. All that frustration, all those nights staying late to fix his messes, all those times I bit my tongue and held back, it was like I'd finally let it all go. I'm done with this place. Done with R. And honestly, it's about damn time. I don't know where I'll go next, but wherever it is, it's got to be better than this hellhole. Hell, maybe I'll open my own place one day. A real restaurant where we don't serve up triangular carrots or soup that could burn a hole in the floor. But for now, I'm heading home to Jay, cracking open a cold beer, and maybe making something that doesn't taste like a chemical warfare experiment. So here's the last update, and man, things actually turned out way better than I expected. Yeah, I got fired after that whole spicy soup debacle. No surprise there. R couldn't handle the heat, literally, and I walked out of that place with my head held high, even if I didn't have a backup plan at the time. For a while, I was just holding on with unemployment while I searched for a new gig. Not gonna lie, it was rough. I applied to a few places, but the job market was tight and nothing seemed to be a good fit. After a couple of weeks of sitting around and thinking about how much R ruined that restaurant, I finally decided to reach out to my old boss, D. I didn't know what I was expecting. Honestly, it was more of a cry for help than anything. I shot him a quick text, something like, "Hey D, got any advice? Things went south at the old place." Didn't think I'd hear much back, but within an hour, he called me. Just hearing his voice felt like a lifeline. We ended up setting a time to grab coffee. What was supposed to be a quick catch-up turned into hours of us sitting there, laughing about the entire spice incident. He couldn't stop chuckling when I told him how I basically torched R's precious menu with ghost peppers. He goes, "Damn, I wish I'd been there to see his face. You really gave him what he asked for, huh?" After the laughs, things took a serious turn. D asked me what I was planning to do next, and honestly, I had no idea. That's when he hit me with the best news I've heard in months. Turns out, D had a lot of old contacts still in the business, and one of them, an old friend of his, was looking for a head chef for a new spot they were opening. He didn't make any promises, but he said he'd make a call. 2 days later, I get an email from this guy. Let's call him B. We set up a meeting, and to make a long story short, I'm now working at his restaurant. It's a completely different vibe, small, tight knit, the kind of place where they actually appreciate experience. They were thrilled to have someone like me on board. Get this, the pay is almost doubled from what I was making before. No joke, I'm making way more than I ever did under R's miserable reign. It's been a couple of weeks now, and I actually enjoy going to work again. The kitchen runs smooth, the team knows what they're doing, and there's no one breathing down my neck about triangular carrots or mango foam. I guess sometimes things just fall apart so better things can fall into place, right? I'm still laughing about how that spice fiasco ended up being the best thing to ever happen to me. And the best part, I never have to see R's face again.